And if I recall, most of your opening statements on respect, those are the same kind of themes that were in the respect for people, about listening and being attentive. So teamwork, communication is probably the longest. These last two go pretty quickly. Teamwork. If I asked everybody in the room for a definition of teamwork, you would give me one. I know that you know what that word typically means. WakeMed has a slightly different spin on it, so I want you to see this. But before I show it up there, I want you to think back to when you were in school, okay, elementary school, middle school, when you had physical education with a large group of people. And the teacher would come in and they'd say, Mike, you're the captain today, and we're going to play basketball. So, Mike, what are you going to look for? Who would you pick to be on your team? So someone who had a lot of skill in that area, right? Someone who had the characteristics or the skill. What else are you looking for? Your friends, people you like. Anything else? You were either, I mean, I agree with those two. You were either the people you like, your friends, or the people who had a matching skill that could help you win or achieve your goal. So if you're talking about work today as an adult, what's different? If you're forming a team, a committee, a work unit, what are you looking for? Someone that you like to work with, which is usually someone you can trust to get the work done, or someone that you enjoy being around. Someone that's ambitious. Someone that has the skill, just like when we were kids. Someone whose capabilities and skills are matched to the task. So really nothing's changed. But are we the person that we would get chosen? Are we the person that would be part of the team? Our definition for teamwork is in teamwork, we stimulate personal and professional growth, share opportunities of development, and maximize individual and team performance. My goodness, tongue twisted today. What is unique about that definition compared to your previous understanding of teamwork? The sharing of the opportunities. I think so too, because we all say, oh, I'm a team player. Well, that just means you help out. That doesn't mean you're getting better and then sharing those opportunities with other people. And if you take this into the sports world, Steph Curry, he's #1 shooter in the NBA last season. Does he stop shooting because he's the best? No, he keeps shooting. He keeps working on that trade. He wants to raise the bar, continue to be the best. And that's what they're asking us to do too, is not to just be the status quo, but to look for opportunities to develop ourselves and then share that information with others. It's a great place to be if you have this kind of a functioning team, because you're all getting better together. It's for you, but in reality, it enhances the whole. So on your handouts, you need to reflect for the next minute or two. What will you do to maximize your individual performance at WakeMed in your new role? And what do you already have that you can contribute to your future colleagues? Okay, it's bribe time. Who's willing to share? You don't have to share both, just one or the other. Somebody I haven't heard from yet. You haven't officially, I haven't heard from you yet, Marie.
Oh.
What would you like to share?
I'm just going to say yes.
You're too quiet.
Can I just talk really loud?
Sure.
I'm going to start saying yes. Like, yes, man. I always try to not do that, but now I'm going to. It'll broaden my willingness. Yes. Lots of yeses. Yes.
The up-to-date reading articles and
Research and development. Research and R&D work, right? Staying current and up to date on technology and trends. We want our physicians to do that, yes? Who else? So that makes me think of our core mission, right? WakeMed's core mission is to improve the health and well-being of our community, to provide outstanding and compassionate care to all. The community is also us. So our well-being, our health is important, and if we're not looking outside and taking care of ourselves when we're not at work, how can we take care of people when we are at work? I like that, Natalie. Anyone else? What do you bring to WakeMed already? What do you bring? Different experiences.
diverse skill sets.
Diverse skill sets. I would say you guys are more valuable than anyone like me any day of the week. Sure, I have a history. But guess what? I do it the way I've always done it. I don't have a new perspective. I don't have experiences from other healthcare facilities. I don't come up with new ideas very often, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you guys have the new ideas and the new perspectives that we don't. Share those opportunities and ideas. Get involved in things that you're interested in. Thoughts on teamwork? I have little statements. What does it look like if we're showing pride in WakeMed and the work we do?
Take ownership.
You take ownership. You get to work on time. If you can't, you let somebody know. Look right, meaning you present, you bathe, and brush your teeth, and you do the things that make you presentable, right? Be a team player. We know what that looks like, but it's about maximizing yourself and others. And then positivity. You know somebody that's always cheerful and happy and fun, positive? Aren't they nice to be around? Positivity is just as infectious as negativity. So I would encourage you to strive to be positive and to give people the benefit of the doubt. Last but not least, we have commitment and accountability. And so this picture is a picture of our executives that sat in a room. We gave them the task. The other definitions are kind of embraced from Toyota and from some Virginia Mason strategies. But these definitions were written by our executives. They sat in a room right across the hall. They scheduled an hour and a half. 8 hours later, they were still in this room. And they narrowed it down to some pretty simple definitions. I really like them. So the first one is commitment. I don't know. Cindy, will you read those for the group? Loud.
Pledge to follow through on responsibility.
So what's a pledge? A promise, an oath, a vow. So basically, I will follow through on responsibilities. So what are your responsibilities at WakeMed? Do you even know yet? You may not know. So it's your job to find out what those responsibilities are. Ask a lot of questions. Get a copy of your job description if you don't already have one. That little summary paragraph that's out on the WakeMed web, that's not it. It's really, that's not your job description. Your job description is like 9 or 10 pages, full of job standards and measurements and all kinds of things that you have to do. So inform yourself. Accountability, meeting expectations and following through on commitments. So I'm going to promise to do what's expected of me. Okay, I have to know what this is first of all, but then I'm going to do it. And then following through on those responsibilities. What's the difference between commitment and accountability? How are they different? Like proven. I can commit to doing something. I can commit to going to the gym every day. But if I go on Saturday, that's not accountability. Right? If Jenny's meeting me there Thursday at 5 and I go, that's accountability. It's like proven. Show the world that you're doing the things that you're committed to doing. What questions do you have about these two definitions? Straightforward, right? So, last thing that I want you to do is on your handouts, write an I will statement for commitment and an I will statement to accountability. That you already have something, responsibility that you're going to hold yourself accountable to. And it may just be as simple as dating. That's not even it. All right, who wants to share? Our last sharing opportunity. Rebecca?
I will demonstrate my commitment to WakeMed by being on time, uniformed, and ready to work. I will demonstrate accountability by arriving at 6:45 a.m. in my red, gray, or black scrubs, with pen and paper ready for shift report.
Now that is a specific goal. Who do you think holds us most accountable? Peers, leaders, or ourselves?
Peers.
Research. I mean, obviously, we're accountable in different ways. But who is most
back in our seats at about 2:23. Check your badges. Look for your name spelled correctly. Look for your department. If there's any mistakes, now is the time to get it corrected for free. If you don't show me the mistakes now, you have to pay for another badge.
I mean, you wouldn't even show you.
small. That won't work. Oh, yeah, that's true. What can you do? All right, let me just stop the music. All right, so if you guys will find your way back to your seats, we're going to go ahead and get started with our next segment. And here from our Employee Relations Department is Ms. Shunda Brown. So welcome, Shunda.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that's the first time. Good afternoon, everyone. Like Kelly said, my name is Shunda Brown. I'm one of the Employee Relations Specialists here at WakeMed. So who is employee relations, right? So we actually, we are a liaison between staff and management. So what we do is we kind of promote and support WakeMed's culture for safety, fostering that communication and trust. So that's our role. We actually work for everyone, if that makes sense. So we are very objective. We don't take sides. We just listen to the information that is given and provide a recommendation on the advice that is shared with us. So if ever there's an issue or concern, we're the folks you want to talk to. If you haven't had success with your management team or maybe not comfortable, everybody's not comfortable doing that. So we can provide you with tools and resources to have that conversation. So how do we fit in the strategic plan? I know this lovely pyramid, you've been seeing it all day. You will probably dream about it tonight. So we fit with the extraordinary team, recruiting, retaining, and developing staff. Bless you. And also, as I had mentioned about fostering that culture of safety and also highest ethics of standard. So when we're talking about highest ethics of standards, we talk about our work culture. So at the top of that pyramid is that patient and family is at the center of everything that we do. So when we talk about being accountable to our coworkers and being accountable to our job, what do you think it means when we say be accountable to your coworkers? And you can just shout out and answer if you know. That's right, show up, right? Because we are, a 24/7 environment. We all have scheduled shifts to work, and if you have someone relieving you, you want that person to show up, right?
Not only that, but if there's multiple of you on a shift, then many hands.
Right. He was saying on the shift, there's many of you on one shift. So even if someone is needing help, not allowing that person to drown and, do it all on their own, that teamwork, fostering culture of safety, commitment, that extraordinary team, exactly. That's exactly right. So when we're talking about fostering trust and transparency, with you all being new to WakeMed, each of you will go through a 90-day introductory period. That's where you'll be evaluated on your performance. So during this time, I ask that you be open to constructive feedback, and it's also a time for you to provide feedback to the manager as well. To me, it's a two-way street. And so we will coach, we will counsel, give you everything that you need as far as resources and tools, and redirect you if need be. And I love new hires because with you all being new to the organization, just because we've been doing it one way does not mean it's always the right way. So you guys bring in new ideas from other organizations or things that you have been exposed to. So that's why I love new hire orientation. So with the coaching and counseling, we do want you to succeed. And one of those ways is after today, you all will receive a login and password to access the intranet. And on the intranet are all the WakeMed human resources policies. I charge you all to review them so that you know what the expectations are. However, you will receive a more in-depth orientation within your specific unit or department, okay? But they're always on the intranet for you. So one of the policies we like to talk about is attendance policy. Because here at WakeMed, if you are a full-time or part-time employee, you are allowed 5 occurrences in a rolling 12-month period. If you are supplemental, you are allowed 3 occurrences. So what's an occurrence? An occurrence is an unscheduled absence. So anytime you were scheduled to be at work and you do not arrive, report to work, that is considered an occurrence. So what does that look like? So let's say on Monday I'm sick for whatever reason. I thought I was going to be able to come back Tuesday, but still not quite there. And then I come back on Wednesday. That would be one occurrence because I was out for the same reason or incident. Okay. Let's say I'm out sick Monday. I'm feeling pretty good. I come back on Tuesday. Well, my child is sick on Wednesday, so now I'm out again. And then let's say Friday, I don't know, my dog is sick, okay, so I'm out. So those would be considered 3 separate occurrences, and you only get 5. They do roll off after a year, but if you get to a point where you've reached 5 because you're full-time or part-time, or 3 because you're supplemental within that year, then that's when we go into the disciplinary process. And in our disciplinary process, we have 3 levels, 1, 2, and 3. So that absence, those 5 occurrences, would be considered a level 1 disciplinary action. Any disciplinary actions will fall off after a year. You can skip levels because WakeMed's disciplinary process is cumulative and progressive. So what will bring you directly to a level 2? Sleeping on the job. Okay, that will bring you to a 2. What will bring you directly to a level 3? More severe like harassment, falsifying time. Also, let's say if you were arrested or convicted and did not notify your manager within 24 hours and it's employment related, that can also lead to a termination. So that's why I charge you all to view the policy so you know what the expectations are. And if at any time you have questions or not sure, you're more than welcome to contact myself or one of my coworkers or your manager. We'll be more than happy to help you. Okay? All right. And with the disciplinary process, even though we have the 3 levels, I was talking about that coaching, we are very big here at WakeMed on coaching and counseling because we want you to be successful. So just because you do something wrong the first time does not mean you're going to get a disciplinary action. It depends on what it is. Like if you start fighting in a unit, we don't really need to discipline on that because you know that's not what you're supposed to do, right? But, however, we do take that opportunity to redirect and see why Shunda made the decision that she made. What other resources would I need to be successful? So that's where that coaching comes in, okay? So I don't want you to be scared to think you can't do anything wrong because we're all human. We make mistakes, right? So we learn from those mistakes. It's when we don't learn from those mistakes is where we will find ourselves in that disciplinary process. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So after you complete your introductory period, if you find yourself in the disciplinary process, you do have the right to grieve the disciplinary action you received. You have 7 days to do so from which it was issued, and you can either email it or hand deliver it to your director. Your director will review it, meet with you, investigate, and then provide you with a decision. If you're not happy with that decision, you can take it up the chain, where eventually it will lead to a hearing. So that is your right. Don't let others think you cannot do it. That is a right that we give our employees if you're not happy with the action that has been taken. Okay. And then this is the website I was talking about for the intranet. So at WakeMed, we love to celebrate. In May, we had our employee appreciation, where we had ice cream socials throughout the campus. But within your departments will do something individually. Another thing we like to celebrate is years of service. So based on your years of service, and it's in increments of 5, so 5, 10, 15, and so on. Based on your year, you will also receive a gift check or gift card. I think it's credit card, Visa card. And so if you've been here 5 years, it will be 50, 10 years, 100, and so on. In the last couple of years, we have celebrated individuals with 50 years of service. So it lets you know the longevity of the employees here at WakeMed. Okay. Something we are just about finished, which is our Pyramid Society Award. And that is the highest honor an employee can receive here at WakeMed. And the reason being is because you are nominated by your peers on how well you perform here at WakeMed. So it's not from your managers, it's those that you work closely with, those that you work with other departments. They can nominate you. And if you'll go through a nomination process. Most people don't know that they've been nominated, which is the best part. And so let's see, out of roughly 9,000 employees, this year we have actually awarded 74 employees. Okay. So what do you get if you win the nomination? You get this beautiful trophy, you get a dinner, a banquet, you get your photo on all the monitors throughout the system. A lot of people don't like that. So you get a photo shoot, you get to look pretty and all that good stuff. And you also get an additional 8 hours of PTO, vacation. Who doesn't want that, right? But here at WakeMed, we have something what we call donating. So if you don't want your PTO if you win, you can donate it to me, Shonda Brown. You can do that. So, but it really, it's a wonderful, wonderful honor to be recognized by your peers. So just something to think of. This one last thing is not celebrating, but just want to put a little bug in your ear. We also have what we call Dine and Discuss. So if that's an opportunity for you to informally dine with our executive leadership. So if you ever get tapped by your manager, that I encourage you to attend because it's very informal. You get to learn a lot about what's going on at WakeMed. And there's no question you can't ask. That's how informal it is. So it's a great opportunity to get up and close and personal with the leaders here at WakeMed. Okay? And that's it. Any questions you may have or anything you had hoped that I would discuss? No? Okay. Welcome to WakeMed.
Okay, thank you, Shonda. Also here to talk to you about diversity and inclusion is Elenia. So welcome, Elenia.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I get clapping. Oh, yay. I love it. I don't think anyone's ever clapped for me at the beginning. This is exciting. So good afternoon. My name is Elenia Sharif, and I've been with WakeMed going on 15 years. And I wear lots of many hats here in the organization. Diversity and inclusion is one of them. I am housed in the Organizational Development Office with Kelly. We're still under the HR umbrella. So this is part of an HR strategy. So it's inclusive within the whole organization. So I have a quick question for you. How long do you think diversity and inclusion has been part of WakeMed's core values and mission? Since the beginning, which was when?
1955.
1961. Yeah, when we established, exactly. But what was going on during that time? The civil rights movement, right? So that's why it's so important that even though all of that was going on, it was still part of WakeMed's culture and values and mission from the very, very beginning. So when you hear the word diversity, what comes to mind? What do you think about? Race? Religion? Age? Gender? Abilities? What else? Did I miss someone? Nationality? Okay. What else? Education? Language? Culture and beliefs? Okay. Do you think work shift could be part of it when we're dealing in healthcare? Do you think day shift is different from the evening shift? Do you think the evening shift is different than the night shift? How about day and night? Right? Totally different. So when you're here at WakeMed, we don't want you just to think of diversity as being about race and religion. It's more than that, right? We have a culture here at WakeMed, but within this one WakeMed culture, we also have several subsets of cultures. So do you think the nursing culture is a little bit different than the human resources department culture? It is, right? But ultimately, we all have one goal and one mission, right? Okay. So here's our diversity statement. We provide an inclusive work and patient care environment that promotes the value of differences by demonstrating respect to everyone. So we want to make sure everyone here is respected, not only our employees, but also our patients, our families, and our visitors that are coming here. And then when we talk about inclusion, we want to make sure everyone here feels like they belong. What happens when you don't feel like that you belong? How does it make you feel? Uncomfortable? What else? Not happy? Isolated? Disrespected? Do you want to stay? No, right? Now let's move on to our patients and families. Do you think they would feel the same way? Everything you described, if we don't include them as part of the healthcare team, right? They don't want to come to us. They might want to go to Rex, right? We don't want them to go there. We want them to come here and stay here with us, right? So we want to make sure everyone here feels like they belong, and that doesn't mean just us, but it also means our patients and families. So with the show of hands, let's see how diverse we are today. It is a small group, which is great. Let's see, with a show of hands, who's from the West Coast? Okay, Brooke. Okay, where are you from? California. Usually there's about 5 people from California. We have a larger one. Yes. Montana. Okay. Anyone else? California. Okay. How about the Midwest? Where are you from? Wisconsin. Kentucky. Is that the Midwest? Is that the East? South? Okay. The Southeast? Southeast. Okay. Okay, who else is from the Midwest? Okay, who's from the East Coast, with the exception of North Carolina? Okay, where are you from? Virginia? New York? Philadelphia? Florida? Okay. Virginia? Okay. New York? New Jersey? Anyone else? Okay. Keep your hands raised if you're from, well, raise your hands if you're from North Carolina. Okay, now keep them raised if you're from Raleigh, North Carolina. Yeah, just a few. Okay, which is a good thing. It means there's a lot of diverse people here in North Carolina. Now, well, Raleigh, North Carolina. Raise your hands if you're from outside of the U.S. Where are you from? El Salvador. Yes. Angola. Kenya. Ghana. Philippines. Taiwan. Okay, yes. India. Anyone else? Okay, so if you see how diverse we are just in 39 people, can you imagine how diverse we are outside of here, outside of orientation, with the over 9,000 employees, with all of our patients and families coming through the organization? Can you just imagine how diverse we are? That's why it's very, very important to us here. Okay, so what happens when we start assuming that everyone is the same based on where they're from? So we have two people from California. Are they both the same? Why not? They're both from California. They're two different individuals. What makes them different? Say that again. What did she say? DNA. Yes. What else? Family, belief systems. What else? It's a very big state, right? Right? Could have grown up 500 miles away from each other. So what happens when we start, with the exception of customer service, when we start treating everyone the same? Oh, those people from California, they always like this type of paperwork. What does that become? Stereotyping, right? So we want to make sure we avoid that at all costs while you're here. We do not want to generalize just based on our experiences with someone or a certain group of people. We want to make sure everyone here feels like they belong, again, using that inclusion word, and that we have respect for everyone, regardless of what you may think about that person. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay. Cultural competence is having those skills to work with anyone from any type of group. So that means providing excellent care and treating each person as an individual. So quick story, both my children have the sickle cell trait. My son is 10, that's how I found out the first time. I got a letter from the Department of Health and Human Services, so I was freaked out, right? And so naturally, my husband and I asked our pediatrician, he has a sickle cell trait, what does this mean? I brought the letter. She goes, oh, don't worry about it, it's not a big deal. He doesn't have the disease. Do you think she was providing culturally competent care? Why not? She didn't explain, right? She brushed me off. It is important, right? She was wrong. Do you think she's still our pediatrician? No, right? So for me, and for my child being a patient, it would have been better if she would have said, you know what, Ms. Sharif, I don't have that information with me right now. However, before you leave today, I'm going to make sure that you have the phone number to call, a website to review, and at your next appointment, we're going to go over this in more detail. I want to make sure that you have everything you need at your next appointment. But I do want you to do some research before you come back, because it is important. Don't you think that sounds a little bit better? It does, right? So it's not that you're going to have all the information about someone or a particular question, be able to answer that question right away. But it's having those resources and communicating effectively with your patients or your families or even your coworkers to tell them that you do care, because you'll make sure that they get the information they need, even if it's not directly from you. Does that make sense? Okay. So here's some policies. I know I just came after Shunda with all her policies from HR, but here's some other ones. Patients' rights and patient visitor information. When you get a chance, definitely take a look at the Patient's Bill of Rights. Basically, what we want you to understand is that we don't deny any visitors. So anyone is welcome to come and visit our patients and families, regardless of where they're from, what they look like, their sexual orientation or gender identity. We want to make sure you understand that. And also with the patient's rights is that we don't deny care to anyone. Okay, our doors are open to everyone who comes through our doors. So we want you to understand that. Also, we have an interfaith chapel. So that means anyone can pray in our chapel. We do not deny anyone the ability to pray because of what we believe is right or wrong. Okay, and I am saying that because the question does come up, unfortunately, whether certain groups are allowed to pray in our chapel, and the answer, anybody can pray in our chapel. Okay, equal opportunity employer. As employees, we want you to understand that you also have rights, that you should not be discriminated against based on all those different dimensions of diversity that we talked about earlier, to include pregnancy. So lots of different things. So make sure you understand your rights. And if you feel like those have been violated, you can definitely contact Human Resources, or you can email me at diversity@WakeMed, or you can email Shunda or Employee Relations as well. Okay, so they can take a look at that. So I'm one of your resources, and then you also have interpretation services. So how many languages do you think we interpret on average in a given month? 18. Okay. Our number 1 language is what? Spanish. Number 2. Yes, Arabic. Y'all are on it today. Okay. Number 3. That's number 4. Number 3, man, no. No, no. Sign language. Number 3. So that kind of shows you our population and what we're translating and interpreting for. So interpretation services, you have a flyer, so please take a look at that when you get a chance. It gives you a high-level overview of everything you need to know about interpretation services. It is something that is very serious to us. It's a law. It's a regulatory requirement, as it states up here. We do discourage WakeMed staff from using family members that are not qualified medical interpreters. However, if they deny or decline one of our medical interpreters, we have to get that decline through a medical interpreter to put in their chart. Okay? We don't use their children. They do have to be of a certain age, which I believe is over the age of 18. So if they want to use their little children, they cannot. Okay? So please read those policies in detail. There's 2 of them: interpretation services for patients with limited English proficiency, and those for patients that are deaf, hard of hearing, or visually impaired. Okay? And then also to let you know, it is called interpretation and translation. Translation is the written form. So when you're asking for a translator, just know that they're going to say, oh, what do you need to be translated? So just make sure you're using the right terminology for interpretation. Spiritual care, I think you've met with them. They were outside during the education fair today, I'm sure. So just to let you know, here's the phone numbers for both of them. So Raleigh campus phone number, I'm sure that's on the form that you have, that you received today. They respond to those traumas and those calls for the North and Raleigh campuses. And then Cary Hospital works at the Cary Hospital. Okay, so they provide lots of emotional support. If you have any questions about a religious belief, definitely reach out to them. They're great for thinking outside of the box on things and helping you come up with ideas for your patients and families. So definitely reach out to them. They're a great resource. We also recognize Diversity Inclusion Month every April, so that will be coming up. So be on the lookout for lots of different activities and events that will be taking place. And then we offer a variety of different menu options from our food and nutrition services. So if you like to eat and you like to try new foods, they're the great place to do it. And it's not expensive at all, so definitely try it. We also recognize our veterans. So if you are a veteran, please make sure you notify your manager so that when we do have our Veterans Day events, you will actually get invited to those events. And so we also recognize Memorial Day. Everyone will get notification as to when that will happen. We also provide tuition reimbursement for Spanish language classes and English as a second language class. However, you do have to be employed with us for at least 1 year in a benefits eligible position, and this has to start after you've been here 1 year. Okay? So I can talk all day about diversity and inclusion here at WakeMed, but I do want you to hear from our CEO so that you can hear why it's important here to the organization directly from him. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start that video. Okay, how did that make you feel? Did it make you feel welcome, regardless of who you are? Okay, and that's what we want you all, everyone here, to feel welcome, because you all are also now WakeMed. Okay, any questions for me? Yes. Mm-hmm. No, it'd be tuition reimbursement, but that will be covered in the benefits section. So right now, what I want everyone to understand, yes, there's tuition